Hello, adventurer. It's good to see you. You have made it to the morning grind.
Welcome, welcome.
It's the live stream at the beginning of the Geekverse, where we talk about all types of topics in geekdom, gaming, and fantasy, with an emphasis on being constructive and creating the things that we want to exist in the world.
It's all on the grind, Sizemore. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
That's exactly right. There are a lot of adventures to be had today. Dungeons to explore and monsters to slay, and who knows what a random encounter might send our way. That's why we have to prepare, so settle in now for the morning grind with your favorite beverage in hand.
Tea? Or maybe something a little stronger. I've got a few bottles of the old Wynyard left.
Whatever you want. Pull up a chair.
Dude.
If you're feeling fancy, how about a cappuccino? Or a frappuccino? Or how about an espresso?
Just tea, thank you.
Sounds good to me, Gandalf. Whatever you want. I'm just glad you're here.
Everyone is welcome. You can just watch if you want. You don't have to worship anything you don't want to worship.
Thank you, Mike. But be forewarned.
Sometimes we get really strange characters around here.
Wait, what's that you say? Why can't you come and be a part of the stream?
My wife would disown me.
Oh no, I bet she'll be fine with it. Come on in.
Am I scared for my safety? No.
What are we supposed to do?
Everybody do the secret handshake.
Secret cultist handshake.
Oh, now do wizards who love each other.
This, my friend, is a science.
I still don't have gifts, but it's fine.
It's all on the grind, son. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
Dude, this would be a sick place to bring the band.
Indeed it would be, Dave. It really would. I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome, glad to have you here. Oh look, here's someone new.
Is this the cultist meetup?
Yes it is.
Come to hang out? Please accept me. I have nothing else.
Okay, we accept you. Everyone's welcome here.
Brought some snacks.
Well, that makes things even better.
You want some coffee? I don't drink coffee. You sure? It's cultist coffee. What makes it cultist coffee? I'm a cultist and I'm drinking it. Oh. Then I'll have some.
What exactly is going on here?
I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome. It's so great to have you. Oh, and look, here comes another stranger.
Can we help you?
Yes, fellow cultists. I could really use some food.
Oh, yeah? Welcome. We have donuts.
Oh, it's me. I'm glad I'm here. I'm sure you have a few questions for me, though.
What's your name? Who do you work for? What god do you worship?
Great questions, Rob.
I'm Steve King, and I worship Nyarlathotep.
No, not really. I'm just Heath, and I won't be worshiping anything this morning. But I will be your host. Welcome to the office. We're going to have a great time. I've got my coffee ready, because now it's time for the morning grind.
If you could become a fish, that would be amazing. Then I could command you with my mental fish powers.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Good morning. I'm glad to see you. I'm a little bit late this morning because if you didn't see last night on Plugged In, we were playing the original Legend of Zelda game on NES, and we beat it. I'm not sure how long I played. I'm not actually even sure how long that stream was. It was from like 7:30 Central until almost 1 o'clock a.m. Central, but it got beat. That was 2 days that beat 2 days worth of playing on Plugged In that beat the original Zelda. I thought it was fun. The video gaming is very much a secondary interest of mine. I'm primarily in the board game side of things, but hey, it's been fun to go back and play some of those classic NES games that I never beat as a kid because I'm not even really good at playing video games, but they were fun. Hey, Stray. I finally got coffee, though. I wasn't going to start this without getting coffee in here. In fact, I got to get my structure for the shows back down because, like, in front of me, I used to have that, and then I cleaned my desk. I don't know where they went. So let's go ahead and breathe because this is important with the coffee this morning. I got my coffee this morning. So let's breathe, deep inhale twice, full exhale, and then sip. Let me show you something that I got in yesterday. People are asking for this one. People are asking for this, so I just got this in. It's the Starfinder box set. So I need to plan out what we're doing next week, ideally. So traditionally, Friday has been our unboxing day. I've got something else I think we can look at for Miscellaneous Sunday. But next week, I think we need to unbox the Starfinder set and see what's going on in Starfinder. So Starfinder has been acquired. Starfinder basic set, anyway. DBJ, good to see you. I am very glad that you're here. You're very your contributions were very much valued last time with the last time, so I'm glad you're here. Good morning, good morning. Yeah, I need a coffee IV. I like Mills in the in the chat telling jokes. How do you get an RPG player to get to go out with you? Ask them for a D8. I like it. I like this one too. I was thinking of getting one of these magical cooking skillets too. I hear they are made of cast iron. You know, Zero Theory is talking about the sun. That's why I got all blackout curtains for my house. Every window in my house has a blackout curtain on it. When people come over to my house, they'll say that I'm like a vampire because I can completely close out all light from the house. Zero the Blade says working on a speaker system this morning. Good morning. Yeah, I got it done. I got it done last night. All right. So my philosophy here is that I've got a bunch of projects that I feel like, hey, I'm working on this project. I'm working on this project. And they're not getting done because I've been rotating through them. And sometimes that's a very great strategy for getting things done. Other times it is not. And sometimes you just have to power through things. So one of the things that I am going to do today, I believe, I got to go through all of Discord. I'm going to go check all of Discord. I might do a YouTube video, but then I think I'm just going to turn off the internet because there's no live stream tonight. And I'm just going to turn off the internet, and I'm going to try to finish the Rabavania World Primer so we can have that written for the RPG book. And then I've got a meeting on Monday about the Tales of Rabavania beat sheet. And I bet that I can finish that if I really it's going to take a lot of mental effort. So several hours. But if I turn that off, I turn off the internet and really get into it, I bet that I could finish the Rabavania beat sheet because that's the goal, to have that done by Monday. And see if I can get a beat sheet approved so I can start writing a script. So I was very interested in what we were looking at with this advanced RPG, advanced 5th edition level up RPG. And it's still, I was pleased that we had people in the chat who thought so positively of it. And for whatever reason, I was getting excited about it as I was sitting here reading it. And I just feel like it seems to be one that is overlooked. Now, we talked about the name and searching for it, but, you know, in publishing, that, you know, they were a pretty big name. So you would think that I would have thought that I would have heard more about this. Of course, sometimes I guess that's just your algorithm and who you're following on feeds and things like that, because Pathfinder 2nd edition, when 2nd edition Pathfinder came out, Pathfinder basically completely fell off of my personal radar. It wasn't something that was coming up. So for whatever reason, maybe it's something in a lot of other people's radar, but I think it should be. I think this should be something, especially now that people are looking for something other than Wizards of the Coast. Oh, I did see that Kyle Brink's interview with Jenny D had posted. I haven't watched it yet. I do want to watch that because I still think I want to post a video on the Kyle Brink situation. I've got lots of notes on that. The most important stuff to me is that I did not find his answers or I found his answers to be disingenuous, or I thought that his answers were disingenuous regarding what the status of the OGL situation was. I have a lot of direct questions I would like to ask him. And as far as the white guys thing go, the most, we're going by the 48-hour rule here. And a lot of people interpreted that differently. And you could even see in my comments how people interpreted that differently. But because there were different interpretations, that was the perfect opportunity for him to clarify. And so it's actually the fact that there was just no clarification that forthcoming, especially since in all of the OGL controversy, he had been talking about, and Wizards have been talking about, how the community, if something went wrong as far as morality or anything like that goes, if they were overstepping something, they would know simply because social media and the community would let them know. And yet they demonstrated for a second time running that things that are going on social media don't really influence them. So that's I've got some notes on that, so I want to put that together. But I want to be sure I watch Jenny D's interview first, even though it was recorded, I believe, like last Tuesday or something like that. So it wasn't recorded like since his stuff. It's more of the same. See, that's kind of what I figured. I figured that it was more of the same, especially since they were all kind of recorded around the same time. So I didn't think there was anything particularly new about it. But I wasn't expecting anything particularly new. But I figured I'll watch it before I record something. But that's what I figured. And that goes back to, okay, lack of responsiveness, when apparently your whole deal was supposed to be that the community would the social media and the community would be able to rein you in. It's just silly. Okay. So this is Level Up Advanced 5th Edition, and we had basically just gotten to the end here, and we were about to move on to, skills and things like that. But I did want to group checks. It told us to go check someplace else for group checks. But I did want to see working together. Sometimes two or more characters work together to attempt a task. The character leading the effort can make an ability check with advantage, reflecting help provided by other characters. In combat, this requires the help action. A character can't attempt to help with a task that they couldn't attempt alone. For example, trying to research a series of draconic text for a lost clue to a treasure is only possible if you can read the language. A character unable to read draconic isn't able to help with the research. Likewise, a character can only help when two or more individuals working together would actually be productive. Okay, so that's just a very general rule. So if somebody's helping somebody, then it gets advantage. Group checks. Is this hyperlinked? Hey, well, okay, let me just go to page 10 and see what's going on with group checks. Because when I was writing the Fated Edge, helping one player, helping out another, and then what happens in the status of group checks. Okay, so group checks. Here is sometimes a narrator will call for a group check. Group checks takes place when the entire party is engaged in a single task, such as climbing a cliff or sneaking up on an enemy camp. The more skilled members of the group are able to help the less skilled members. In a group check, every player makes an ability check as described above. If more than half of the group succeeds on their check, the group as a whole succeeds. If half or less of the group succeeds, the group as a whole fails. Okay, now what do we think about this? What do we think about group checks? Sometimes, to me, this doesn't seem right. I think there's a better way to do this. And actually, I think that one of the ones that I was reading, this comes up with another person and how we deal with people on the internet. Because I want to say that the Angry GM had written on this, and I think that I was like, oh yeah, that system makes sense. Because it seems like I don't think that this system quite works. This is very much a 5th edition system, right? If either player makes if the ability, everybody makes one if more than half succeed. But wouldn't it be better? Like, that's a lot of dice being rolled. Everybody's having to make this check. I think the thing I was going toward was that, okay, we've got to make a decision whether or not you're in a group situation where if the most skilled person succeeds, then the entire group succeeds. Or is it that if the least skilled person fails, then the entire group will fail? It's trying to reduce this down to one die roll instead of everybody rolling dice and then trying to figure out whether it's half or more or whatever else. You know, if it's a group, like if it's a navigation check. Now, I guess that's even like, well, but multiple people can try navigating. So like if you've got several people, so you've got several people that know what they're doing as far as overland navigation. So that would be a group check to see if the group needs to go, or at least could be interpreted as a group check. Is it, if you've got Aragorn there and Aragorn succeeds, does it matter if half of the hobbits failed? No. So to me, that's a situation where we should just say, well, Aragorn succeeded his check, so you're able to get where you need to go. Or if you're talking about sneaking up on somebody and the whole group is trying to sneak up, well, in that case, your least sneaky person would be the one to decide whether or not you are successful or not. So that does help get it to one roll. And I want to say that was something that I was reading in the Angry GM. But then now here's an aside on that, because how do we actually operate on the internet? I have no idea. I don't think I follow the Angry GM on any type of social media, so I don't know anything about that person other than reading the articles, on the website. But then as I was just going by Twitter, somebody was really upset with the Angry GM about something, and that just seemed like a whole bunch of drama, and I have no idea. So I just read. It's like I don't even know anything about that. How do you handle that? Because it seems like somebody's always going to be yelling about something, and you can't follow everything. So, sometimes you just read the articles people put out. I have no idea what that situation is. It seems like everybody's got a situation. Okay. So what do? I just read the stuff. Okay, so we're going down to, wait a minute. I feel like I'm missing some things in this. Table of contents. Let me go over here and see what people are thinking about that. Yeah, stealth is the biggest problem. Yeah. Let me scroll back up a little bit. So DBJ says, biggest changes from 5e to A5e, read Warlock, Paladin, Martial, the entire monster book, the entire Trials and Treasure books, details under most spells, martial maneuvers in the AG. Okay, we're going to come back and pick up character creation. Typically, the way we go is take a look at the how to play and then come back and go to character creation. So Warlock, Paladin, Martial, the entire monster book. Yeah, somebody also said, I believe somebody else said that the monster book was fantastic in this. Trials and Treasures. So we'll do. Mastering Dungeons interview with Kyle Brink. Okay, I'll look for that. So Rhino says, I always thought characters helping should depend on the most unskilled person, weakest link in the chain and all that. Yeah, I agree. Well, but for the ones where it seems like, okay, if the weakest person fails, then we all fail. Because like I said, I can think of other situations where if the best person succeeds, then you can all succeed. So I would want to clean up that rule, I think. Jason says stealth is the biggest problem. Never bought a skilled person able to effectively do a task and help. If one character fails, yeah, in the stealth check, he highlights the entire group. Hi, Pilgrim Media. Hail Heath, happy Saturday, Florida fair day. Good to see you. Welcome, Pilgrim Media. Thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you very much for being here this morning. Jason says, I like everyone to roll check. Lets the whole group in on the action. But then again, so, if you're going to be saying that every roll is significant, that means that some of those rolls aren't significant, right? Because you're actually talking about what the average or something like that. So I think I'm fine with identifying who should make this roll for the entire group. Is it the most skilled person or is it the least skilled person? Yeah, that's the beginning of every answer. It depends. Rhino says, when my nephew helps me with some work, it just increases the overall chance of success. I got this. Hey, that's a good point. I should post that link. Hang on. Let's go over here to, I think I put it in the description. I'm pretty sure I did. So right here's the entire level 1. Let me make sure. Let me post this in the chat. This is by In Publishing. So that's where you can find all of these books, including this one, Rhino Watcher. I do like abstracting it as a dramatic task, so everyone can do their own part to contribute in their own way. Savage Worlds dramatic tasks. For some reason, the mechanics of Savage Worlds just do not stick with me. I've looked at it twice, but I do want to also look at Savage Worlds Pathfinder. So maybe Savage Worlds will stick with me again if we actually take a look at Pathfinder. Well, to me, that kind of is. If one person succeeding can succeed for the whole group, then the others are not helping. Why not just a single check, right? Well, that's right. So that's what I'm saying. That this is a group check should be one roll. I'm thinking like my example there is, okay, the group has to navigate, is trying to get overland navigation. Does it matter if you have some people who are really bad at navigation in the group? If you've got Aragorn with you, as long as Aragorn succeeds, Aragorn should roll the check and take care of that. And like maybe something else like hunting. Okay, we've got to forage or something like that for food. If you've got some people with you, like the hobbits, who are really bad at foraging for food in the wilderness, like they don't know anything about hunting and trapping and stuff like that's not their thing, but you've got Aragorn with you, why do a group check? Just see if Aragorn is able to continue. It is able to do it for you. Stray says there's a stealth feat in Pathfinder. A rogue can let the party use half his check instead of their own if they move at half speed. Oh, that's interesting. So kind of letting people help, trying to cover. I mean, there's got to be something for the skilled person trying to cover for other people. RPG with DBJ says that rule prevents the rabbit pile when one PC fails and everyone jumps in. Either one PC rolls with or without help, or all roll. Either one PC rolls with or without help, or all roll. Yeah, I agree. So, and I think that now, see, you could say that it's with help, or I suppose some people you could also say, well, if you've got like a stealth situation, I suppose it would not matter in the navigation situation because it doesn't matter that you have people who are bad at navigation with you if you're good at navigation. Likewise, it probably doesn't mean it doesn't matter if you're bad at hunting if you're good at hunting because you can go out and get food. But in some cases, like the stealth, you could say, okay, well, no, I still think in that case, making the person with the least stealth roll is the way to go. But you could give that person some kind of advantage or bonus if the most skilled person is trying to help them, and actually cover their deficiency. I guess that's how you do it. Because I was going to say, you could have somebody roll with like disadvantage. Your most skilled character rolling, but with disadvantage because they're trying to cover for the least skilled. But if it's a situation where the least skilled people matter, then I think I would give it to the least skilled person to roll. But could do that person could roll with a bonus if they're actively being helped, like use that help mechanic if the very skilled people are helping. Okay, so where are we now? So we were into proficiency bonuses. So everybody's got one. When applicable to some things, when applicable to whatever you're rolling for, you add it to your D20 roll. We have saving throws as well. It attempts to resist an effect being forced upon your character, such as a spell, trap, poison, disease, or similar threat. So the saving throws, I guess, are similar to what I was saying when you've got some ways that you affect the world and you've got some ways that you prevent the world from affecting you. So that's saving throws. But the distinction isn't clear in 5th edition because you have some things like Constitution that it specifically even says in this book you don't typically make checks for. So if it's supposed to be something, so that seems like something that is more of a save than it is something that allows you to affect the world. So to make a saving throw, roll a D20 and add the appropriate ability modifier. So, oh yeah, that's right. On this character sheet, actually everything had a saving throw. So you've got all of these abilities, and then each one of them has a saving throw associated with you. Each class has proficiency in at least 2 saving throws. Skills. Let's see. Okay, so we don't have to have a skill here. So this is the way that 5th edition is supposed to be played, I believe, although it's frequently not. People are always looking at skills to try to come up with what skill to use when you're supposed to be looking at ability checks and potentially modifying by skills. So here's the same thing. When a character attempts an ability check, the narrator may decide that a specific skill is relevant to the check. If a character is proficient in that skill, they add their proficiency bonus to the ability check. For instance, if a character is attempting to fool a palace guard, the narrator may call for a charisma check using deception skill. Any skill may be used with any ability check, which I think is supposed to be a part of 5th edition, but there's just that one, I think was supposed to be a bigger part of 5th edition, but now there's kind of just that sidebar or something that says, hey, you can use this skill with a different check or different ability when it's when appropriate. So decoupling skills from the specific ability, I think, is important, and I try to do that in when I was thinking about Fated Edge. Skills, specialties. Now we have lists of skills: acrobatics, animal handling. Let's see. We have engineering and steampunk. Skill, specialties, and toolkits. Toolkits do not offer specialties. However, a character proficient in a tool may occasionally substitute a skill proficiency and gain the benefit of a specialty. For instance, a character with proficiency in a playing card set might use deception at a key part of the card game using their poker face specialty. Similarly, a character proficient in land vehicles might use their animal handling skill to control a chariot on a tight bend, gaining the benefit of their specialty with driving animals. Oh, we got some information on stealth and hiding. Okay, so let's see what they say over here. To attempt to hide from a creature, you must be unseen, behind something obscured, invisible, or otherwise out of sight, and unheard by that creature, as well as undetected by any special senses that might possess. That's pretty good. You know, I think that we were playing some 5th edition. We had the rogue who was trying to hide. And that was another situation where it seemed like the rules in 5th edition were rather vague about when exactly you could hide, and vague in a way that seemed rather generous to the rogue. Make a stealth check. If this check's total is used until you stop hiding or discovered. If a creature sees you while you are hiding or makes a successful perception check to locate you, or you make a noise that it can overhear, you are discovered and no longer hidden from that creature. So make a stealth check. This check's total is used. What does it mean for this check's total to be used? I'm assuming that means that like other people's passive scores are being checked against that. Let's actually read the stealth score check down here. Stealth is used to hide or avoid notice. A creature's stealth check is usually opposed by a potential observer's perception check. The most commonly used ability score for stealth is dexterity. Constitution must be used for Constitution might be used for staying still for a very long time. Intelligence for casing out an unfrequent route, or charisma for blending anonymously into a crowd. Example checks DCs by skill. Why wouldn't you put those under the skill? But okay, that's good. I like having some additional examples, but I think I would have organized that so it's actually put under the skill. That way, when you're looking up the skill, you're not having to look in 2 different places. Mathematically, multiple PCs doing checks increases the overall chance of success. Not sure why you would get a bonus on top. Yeah. So, yeah. I don't know exactly where that came in. So, yeah, my preference, I think, is for the multiple PCs to not all be rolling it. You know, if you're succeeding, if everybody succeeds, You don't want to be in a situation, and this is the situation with dice that Jeff Engelstein and I talked about. You don't want to say, hey, if anybody fails, if there's one failure, you all fail. Let's roll a bunch of dice. Then you're increasing your chance that somebody's going to fail. Okay, now we do have critical success, which is not something we have in 5th edition. We have critical success when we're fighting, but not just on skill checks, right? But here we do, which is nice. If you like rolling dice and critical successes, but also critical failures, we've got that. And, I was thinking just yesterday, I was thinking, we tend to mirror critical failure and critical success. 20, roll a 20 or roll a 1. But what is more likely, that you're going to screw something up royally or you're going to do extraordinarily well? That's probably not something that's actually symmetrical. Now, whether or not you want to incorporate that in a game is another, is something else, right? Because I don't think I would want in a game the critical failure to be more common than the critical success. Because I was thinking about that in terms of my sort of philosophy. Just one second. Where if you've got plenty of time, don't take an average of the roll. Go ahead and take the highest value because you've had plenty of time to, get it all right and take that highest value. But on the other hand, I think we probably all had situations where even if you technically have plenty of time, hey, you're just, working on something and you're not under pressure. There's no time deadline. You can take all the time that you want. And yet you still screw it up, right? And you also, you accidentally do something wrong. You accidentally drop something or something, and then you break it. And I guess that's a critical failure. So I suppose even having as much time as you want can be a critical failure. But then I thought beyond that, well, as long as you can start over and you don't have any type of time limit, well, yeah, it sucks. But you can just start over. If you didn't, you've still got plenty of materials. You've still got plenty of time, whatever, you just start over. So rolling the highest number takes into account that sometimes something by accident might happen that you might screw up. And if you were using something that you only had one of, where failure would actually matter, then you would be rolling. So I think that kind of takes that smooths itself out there. Because I wouldn't want a situation where, okay, you've got plenty of time to do this, but go ahead and roll just to be sure that you don't accidentally hit a critical failure and really screw this up. Okay, so now, but ability checks, natural 20 and natural 1. When you're rolling a natural 20 and succeed on an ability check, or when you roll a natural 1 and fail on an ability check, you are using a skill roll 1d6 to determine what special effect occurs. Because of the benefits of this, and fail on an ability check, when you roll a natural 20 and succeed on an ability check, or when you roll a natural 1 and fail on an ability check, if you're using a skill roll 1d6 to determine what a special effect occurs. Wait a minute, what? Oh, okay. I think there's something missing here in this sentence. So when you roll a natural 20 and succeed on an ability check, or when you roll a natural 1 and fail on an ability check, if you're using a skill, I think this must be like a comma here. If you're using a skill, so this is ability check. No, if you're using a skill, so that does not mean if you're just rolling an ability check. Wait, this is because you do not have to apply a skill to an ability check. So this is about ability check criticals, but it says that if you're using a skill, roll 1d6 to determine what special effect occurs. So you have to be using a skill in order to have a natural 20. So this is separating what happens by skill. Because which is nice because we often say here that, okay, it's not quite as easy to always adjudicate Hey, critical success. Hey, critical failure. What exactly does that mean? In any particular situation, it's very easy to fall back on just some tropes here. So this gives you something to go by. Because of the benefits of ability check criticals, some players may try a variety of easy ability checks to get a critical effect. The narrator is always the arbiter of these critical effects and should rule that any ability check is superfluous or insignificant, as any resulting natural 20 and 1 have no special effect. Well, some players may try a variety of easy ability checks to get a critical effect. Oh, no, I got the hiccups. That's not good. If they're easy, maybe we shouldn't be rolling. Toolkits. Whether or not a toolkit is appropriate for an ability check critical and for which type it qualifies at the narrator's discretion. So let's see what kind of stuff here. So arcane criticals only occur when a magical effect is involved. This might be the response to a counterspell or dispel magic, the curious activation of a specific magic item, or interaction with a ritual or permanent enchantment. When a arcane critical success or critical failure would not apply, the effect that activated it re-roll. So critical successes in arcane. Arcane Surge. You gain temporary hit points equal to your proficiency bonus. These temporary hit points last 1 hour. Comfort in the arcane. You may take 10 on an arcane check for the next 24 hours, even if it's not normally allowed. Expanded use. If the magic item or effect targets a set number of targets, you may add 1 additional target within range. Free use. If activating a scroll or item with charges, such as a wand, you do not use the scroll or any charges. Lucky magic. You gain an expertise die on arcane checks for the next 24 hours. Meta magic use. Choose 1 minor meta magic from those found in the sorcerer class and apply it to the spell. Failures include you take 1 point of damage per spell level. An activated item gains the broken condition, or in the case of a scroll, it is destroyed entirely. Delayed activation. At some point within the next 1d12 hours, the magic device randomly activates. The target is chosen by the narrator. Misaligned aiming. The device activates, but the target of the item's effect or spell changes to a target of the narrator's choosing. Unlucky magic. You are rattled for the next 2d4 hours. Is rattled a condition? Wasteful usage. If activating an item with charges, such as a wand, you use 5 charges, even if the device does not activate. Okay, I want to look at medicine. I saw medicine here, because we were talking about generally how medicine is not that useful in 5th edition. So let's take a look and how we preferred it in Pathfinder. Let's take a look at medicine up here. I kind of don't like that we've got the description of the skill here, the DCs in the next section, and then the criticals and critical failures in the next section. I feel like I would have put all of that under the same spell, the same skill. That way you don't have to look in 3 places. When you look up a skill, you get all the information about it. So medicine says a character can perform a medicine check to stabilize a dying creature, treat or diagnose a disease or poison, or determine a cause of death. The most commonly used ability score is wisdom. A character might use intelligence to diagnose a rare poison, or constitution to nurse someone through a lengthy and dangerous illness. You would use your constitution to nurse someone through a lengthy or dangerous illness. Specialties include animals, autopsy, diseases, herbalism, and poisons. I don't know about that. No, maybe that's talking about to keep you from getting it. Now, then it would talk about a very transmissible, whatever word I'm looking for, a disease that's very contagious. That's a very contagious illness. So I don't know. Okay, so medicine. Let's go down and see what our medicine DCs are. DC 10, assess a broken bone or other obvious injury Stabilize a bleeding creature is just a 10. Identify the cause of death of a recent corpse. Diagnose early signs of plague. Surgically remove a foreign object in a non-vital area is DC 18. Identify the cause of death of an old corpse. 20. Keep a maimed or dismembered creature alive. Amputate an infected limb. Okay, let's see what happens on medicine. Critical success. Buffer. The target gains a number of temporary hit points equal to your proficiency bonus. These temporary hit points last 1 hour. Comprehensive checkup. The target heals 1 level of fatigue or strife. Reroll if neither applies. We haven't gotten into strife yet. Expertise. You may take 10 on a medicine check for the next 24 hours, even if it's not normally allowed. Repeat the procedure. You may treat your next medicine check as a natural 20, so long as made before you complete a long rest. This does not result in a critical success. Spur natural healing. The target's natural healing improves dramatically. For the next 24 hours, double the hit points the target regains from spending hit dice during a short rest. Or 6, superb healing. The target regains additional hit points equal to your proficiency bonus. On the other hand, critical failure, amputate toe. You accidentally amputate the patient's little toe or similar non-vital extremity. How did you do that? Well, I wonder that too. What if you're trying to bandage somebody's wounds? You're just trying to apply a bandage. How do you end up amputating a toe? Disgusting procedure. You and the target are poisoned for 1 minute. Harm. Target takes 1d4 bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing damage. Infect wound. The target must make a DC 12 Constitution saving throw or become infected with sewer plague. See Malidities in Trials and Treasures. 5. Open wound. The target takes 1 ongoing damage for 1 minute. Each turn, the target can use its bonus action to make a Constitution saving throw, DC 20 minus 1 per previous save to stop the bleeding. Any amount of magical healing stops the bleeding. 6 is organ damage. The target suffers 1 level of fatigue. Narrator's choice. What do we think? So this is grouped. So this is our criticals. Well, okay, I guess that's why they didn't put these skill successes and failures under this particular skill, because this includes acrobatics, athletics, sleight of hand, and stealth. So you roll on that. I still think I would put under that skill then critical successes and failures use the physical skill list, page whatever. Social skills include animal handling, deception, insight, intimidation, performance, and persuasion. Okay, let's get into adventuring. Let's see. Actually, I need to warm up my coffee. My coffee is stone cold, and I am, because of the Zelda game last night, I am in some need of warm coffee. Let me run to the kitchen. Just running over there. Let me grab some coffee. All right. Much better. Let's breathe and sip. There we go. All right. So now we are into adventuring. Time. Combat rounds are 6 seconds. Movement, speed. Every creature capable. When it comes to determining time frames for movement, the most important factors are speed and travel pace of an individual or party and the terrain being traversed. Every creature capable of movement has a speed measured in feet. They can move in a single round. See Trials and Treasures. Yeah, we're going to have to get that book. I'm also looking forward to going through the game mastery guide for Pathfinder. Vehicles special movement. Let's look at climbing, swimming, and crawling, because I always found those rules for 5th edition to be rather inadequate. So, not all travel can be accomplished by simply walking from one point to another. Adventurers may be forced to climb, swim, or leap to reach their final destinations. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Climbing, swimming, and crawling. Movement using these 3 different methods is similar to traveling through difficult terrain, though there are some key differences. First, it costs a creature an extra foot to move for every point spent. Thank you, Stray. Yes. Worst, if the creature is moving to an actual difficult terrain, it costs 2 feet for every foot spent. I think I would maybe movement. Now, see, I'm using zone-based movement, but you can talk about doubling the amount of time spent or amount of like distance spent like this. But maybe it would just be better to have movement points and talk about movement points. That way, you're not talking about like 2 feet equals 1 foot or something like that. But maybe that's minor. Moving by climbing or swimming through normal terrain by a creature with the corresponding speed costs no additional movement. With the corresponding speed. So that probably does mean that if you have climbing speed or swimming speed specifically. A narrator may apply additional checks in certain scenarios, such as climbing a particularly slippery surface or swimming in churning water. Do we get some examples of that? Like, see, even that phrase is, I think, more than what 5th edition gives you. For example, a berserker with 30 feet of movement speed only gives 15 feet on their turn while trying to climb a mountain. Should that same berserker try climbing the same mountain during a snowstorm, they would only move 7 feet and may even need to pass an athletics check to maintain a hold or risk falling into the water below. Okay, jumping. A long jump requires a creature to move at least 10 feet by foot immediately before making its jump, and distance covered by a number of feet up to its strength score. Each foot covered by a jump costs the same in movement. A narrator can also request a DC 10 strength athletics check to clear low obstacles, which must be no taller than a quarter of the jump's distance. DC 10 strength athletics check to clear low obstacles, no taller than a quarter of the jump's distance. Landing is also a fair challenge. Should a creature land in difficult terrain, perhaps jumping over a table in the kitchen only to land on a freshly mopped floor on the other side, how many times have we done that? A creature must make an additional DC 10 dexterity acrobatics check to actually land on its feet. Should it fail, it instead falls prone. A high jump is more complex. To make a running high jump, a creature must move 10 feet on foot immediately before making the jump, leaping up into the air a number of feet equal to 3 plus its strength modifier, minimum of 0 feet. To make a standing high jump, a creature need not move beforehand, but only jumps half the distance it would have during that. Did I lose my video feed? Oh, it says that I lost connection to my camera. Let me see if I can get that back. Just 1 second. Let me see here. There we go. Technical malfunction. When a creature's jumping distance exceeds twice its speed, it can jump up to a distance equal to twice its speed in a single jump, so long as it takes no other movement. In either case, a creature uses up a foot of movement for every foot it covers. Though there are a few special scenarios for high jumping. First, a creature can extend its arms up to half its height during the jump. Thus, a creature can reach above itself equal to a height of a jump plus 1.5 times its height. In addition, a narrator may allow a creature to make a strength athletics check to jump higher than it could otherwise. So I think that some of this seems rather technical, but this is a lot more information than 5th edition provides. And I feel like when it's time to actually look up climbing, jumping, crawling, or swimming, or jumping, when you're looking up those rules, you're probably looking up those rules because you've got a situation that you need to clarify. So I always prefer in situations like that for the more detailed rules to be there, because you can always ignore the more detailed rules. But when you're looking for some type of better way to adjudicate something, or, hey, we got a situation here, how do we adjudicate it that we're not clear about, and, might matter technically, you want the technical rules to be there, which 5th edition did not give you, and it seemed to me. Marching orders. Oh, we got, more information on stealth. We got another stealth thing here. A party looking to avoid threats can choose to travel at a slow pace and employ stealth, making a group stealth check, typically using dexterity, see page 10. A party with reasonable cover can do more than avoid ambushes. They may well surprise or sneak past their enemies. A creature takes 1d6 bludgeoning damage for every 10 feet it falls, maximum of 20d6, and lands prone. A creature that falls into water takes half damage, and no damage if it dives with a successful athletics check. Suffocating. Also, I think, an important situation here. Drowning, strangulation, smothering, strange alternative planes of reality with no air. Many situations can lead to suffocation. A creature can hold its breath for a number of minutes equal to 1 plus its constitution modifier, minimum of 30 seconds. So 1 plus constitution modifier. Once a creature is out of breath, it begins suffocating and can survive a number of rounds equal to its constitution modifier, minimum of 1 round. At the start of its next turn, the suffocating creature drops to 0 hit points and is dying. It cannot regain hit points or be stabilized until it can breathe again. For example, during a storm at sea, a creature with a constitution of 16 is dragged beneath the ocean by debris tangled around its legs. It can hold its breath for 4 minutes. That is a long time. At which time it has 3 rounds before it drops to 0 hit points. 4 minutes. Oh, yeah, so minutes, not rounds. You've got a creature, you can hold your breath for a minimum of minutes equal to 1 plus your constitution modifier. And in combat, a turn is 6. Although, I think I like the Pathfinder rules for this, but the Pathfinder rules were pretty brutal, because the Pathfinder rules like, yeah, you can move, but you can't, you can hold your breath. But if you start doing something like fighting, then you're all of a sudden not doing that anymore. And I like the water being a dangerous situation. So you might be able to hold your breath if you are just swimming generally or going along trying to get out of something. But if you actually got to go into combat underwater, this rule is still generous. But see, this rule also has a lot more information than 5th edition, if I recall. Underwater. A creature that cannot breathe underwater begins to suffocate underwater once it cannot hold its breath. In addition, creatures without swim speeds have disadvantage on attacks made using any weapon other than a dagger, dueling dagger, javelin, short sword, spear, or trident. Ranged weapon attacks automatically miss beyond their normal range underwater, and bludgeoning and fire damage are halved. A creature that takes damage while holding its breath underwater must succeed on a concentration check or immediately begin suffocating as if its breath had run out. So that's another way to do it. So you might be able to fight with your breath held, but boy, as soon as you take damage, concentration check or begin suffocating. Vision and light. So we've got several different environmental features to or different ways that they can be obscured. A lightly obscured area is one that creates a minimal but not insignificant amount of visual impairment. A moderately wooded area, lingering smoke from a sacked town, dim lighting, and the light can all be used. Can all be lightly obscured. When within this area, creatures have disadvantage on perception checks that rely on sight. Heavily obscured, the creature is blind. So we've got lightly obscured, disadvantage, heavily obscured, and you're blind. 3 types of lighting exist within this area. Bright light is the most common. So no penalties. Dim light creates a lightly obscured area. Dim light is typically found on the outer reaches of artificial light sources, such as the depths of a room lit only by candles or in the outer ring of a bonfire. Dim light can also be found during dawn or twilight or beneath the full moon. Darkness is heavily obscured. Creatures without night lights delving underground or traveling are at a disadvantage. So now how do we mitigate that? Yes, potion of water breath. And hey, we looked at that like there was some type of bottle in Pathfinder that you can just be holding, right? And it would kind of operate and allow you to breathe. Jar of French air. Is that extra expensive air? Blindside, kind of like how the French bottled waters are much more expensive. This is the bottle of French air here. So blind sight. A creature with blind sight is not affected by darkness or other heavily or lightly obscured areas, and you can see through invisibility within a certain radius. Creatures adapted to the darkness, like bats and moles, or creatures without eyes, like purple worms, have blind sight. So it's not affected by darkness or other lightly or obscured areas and can see through invisibility within a certain radius. Figments. Creatures that do not rely on visual sight, noted as having blind sight, are immune to visual illusions. Dark vision. Many creatures within the realms of medieval fantasy are gifted with sensitive sight. Dark vision allows a creature to see within darkness as if it were dim light, and dim light as if it were bright light, although the creature cannot perceive colors while in darkness, only shades of gray. True sight. Some particularly powerful creatures, such as particularly old dragons, have true sight. This allows a creature to see in normal or magical darkness, perceive invisible creatures and objects, automatically detect illusions, and so forth. And can even see into the ethereal plane. Okay, so food and water. So this was something that we talked about with supply last time, right? Creatures need to eat and drink in order to survive, and are often found in the wilderness. The opportunity to find fresh water and food can be limited. Creatures can circumvent hunger and thirst with dry food supplies, water stores, magic, and more. A creature that takes a long rest must consume food and water supply or suffer a level of fatigue. See the supply rules. Oh, the supply rules aren't in here? Oh, well, that's not good. His supply is on our character sheet. I was interested to see how it was actually adjudicating that. So it says that we got to see the supply rules in Chapter 4, Exploration of Trials and Treasures. So I guess we won't be able to get into that here. Objects. Let's scroll past that. So let's get into social situations, right? Yeah, I figured it was actually fresh air. But I like bottle of French air, though. So what does it say about social interaction? While combat and exploration are a large part of the game, social interaction is one of the key pillars of playing in Level Up. When interacting, because I think people were talking about yesterday how much they liked they had information on all the different pillars of play. Whether interacting with the rest of the party or NPC portrayed by the narrator, the way your character moves through their world will have a heavy impact on what they are able to achieve. Talking down a frightened victim to get important information, using fast talk to get out of a tense political situation, or even negotiating a better rate at the local potion shop are all these require interactions that can succeed or fail depending on a creature's skill. Okay, and we do this by role-playing. There are two types of role-playing: descriptive role-playing and active role-playing. Some players prefer one over the other, but feel free to choose the style that's most comfortable for you and fits best with the style of game you are playing. So with descriptive role-playing, you describe your character's words and actions to the other players and the narrator. You paint a mental picture of what your character is doing and how they do it, often focusing on their emotional state. For example, Sarah plays Gorza, the orc berserker. Gorza is quick to anger and quick to laugh and quick to anger. The party is discussing their strategy for clearing out the giant rats that have nestled in the town sewers, a task Gorza thinks will be laughably easy. Sarah, in her normal speaking voice, says Gorza laughs and leans on her axe and sarcastically suggests that the group should invest in rat poison and cheese. Then she asks how long this meeting will be. She wants to get back to the tavern. Okay, whereas active role-playing is more akin to acting than description. Although there still may be actions that need to be described, you take on your character's voice and demeanor when speaking for them, sometimes even adopting accents, verbal tics, and specific speech patterns. You talk to the other characters in the way that you would speak to the players sitting beside you. You talk to other characters in the same way you would speak to the players sitting beside you. So in this case, with active role play, Sarah is playing Gorza in the same scene, but this time she speaks as Gorza as well as describes her actions. The results look something like this. Sarah says in her normal voice, Gorza leans on her axe and shakes her head. Then with a gravelly voice, Sarah laughs and says as Gorza, we'd be better off investing in some cheese and arsenic. And better just call it a night. I saw a new cast of Hilltop L downstairs, and it has my name on it. Okay. So ability checks. Along with role-playing, ability checks are a vital way your character interacts with the world. Although many actions simply require a declaration, such as walking into a room or pulling a lever, there are times when a narrator may call for an ability check to determine if your character is successful at their intended action. So, for instance, if you're trying to cross the deck of a ship, yeah, okay. So similarly, role-playing can affect an NPC's attitude or demeanor, but the narrator may decide an ability check is warranted to determine the outcome of a conversation or social interaction. Okay, so I actually don't think there's anything particularly new in all of that. We got the two different types of role-playing, but that didn't have mechanical effects specifically. Resting. Okay, we've got short rests here and long rest. A short rest is a period of no less than 1 hour in which the character does nothing more strenuous than reading, writing, talking, or binding wounds. At the end of a short rest, the character may expend 1 or more hit die to restore any lost hit points up to their maximum number of hit dice. For each hit die expended, the player rolls the die as determined by their class and adds their constitution modifier. A player can decide to roll an additional hit die after that. Whereas a long rest is a period of time at least 8 hours, 6 of which must be spent in sleep. The remaining hours may be spent doing light activities such as eating or standing watch. If this period is interrupted by strenuous activity for more than an hour, such as fighting, waking, or casting spells, the creatures gain no benefit from the time period of rest. After the long rest has been completed, the character regains all lost hit points. The character also regains expended hit dice up to a maximum of half the character's total number of them, minimum of 1. For example, a character with 10 hit dice who has expended 8 would regain 5 after a long rest. A character cannot benefit from more than 1 long rest in a 24-hour period and must have at least 1 hit point at the start of the long rest to benefit. Any character that does not consume at least 1 supply suffers a level of fatigue when they finish a long rest, and the characters are only able to truly recuperate when in a haven. Also, it's sending you to trials and treasures here. A character recovers from 1 level of fatigue and 1 level of strife after finishing a long rest in a haven when they have consumed supply. After taking a long rest and consuming supply without a haven, a character can recover only from the first level of fatigue or strife. When taking a long rest and consuming supply without a haven, okay, characters can only recover from the first level of fatigue or strife. We do have information on downtime here as well. Recovery activity seems like it is something that can be done in downtime. Let me see what's also down here. So looks like lots of information on downtime. Prestige rating. A character's prestige rating represents how prominent they are, either as an enemy or ally, and can influence how easy it is for a character to call in favors from their allies or determine how much effort their enemies will put into defeating them. Well, we probably need to get into that. Okay, I still think there's a lot more that we need to go into in this book. So maybe we start with prestige rating tomorrow. Sunday is supposed to be our miscellaneous day anyway. So I've got some Pathfinder cards over there that also came in. So we may take a look at some Pathfinder cards, but also I think we should probably continue with this because I want to get through here and then go back to the beginning and take a look at the character creation as DBJ was talking about, and take a look at some of the different classes and things like that and see how that's different. So it looks like let's just see where we are in this book according to the table of contents. DBJ did recommend we take a look at some spells. So as well. So we are down here. Oh, we haven't actually gotten into combat yet. So we were just into between adventures and about to get into combat and turn-based actions. So that's an important part of seeing how we run this. Some of it may be the same, but some of it may not be. So we should go through combat and turn-based action. Combat maneuvers. So we specifically need to look at that, but we probably should look at combat before that. And then spell casting and take a look at some of the spells. Then we need to come back and take a look at like Martial, Herald, Paladin, Warlock. We'll come back because we've got a lot more different classes here. All right, what do we think? Never mix your rat poison and cheese, especially in your kitchen. All right, well, so no stream tonight. I'm going to go through some Discord, I think, but then I'm going to largely disconnect from the internet and see what happens as far as writing goes, because I want to knock some stuff out. Tomorrow we'll have the morning grind. I think we'll continue with this. Might take a look at some Pathfinder cards, a deck of Pathfinder cards I got in. My business lunch keeps getting moved around. I was about to leave yesterday to go to it, and it got moved back to Sunday. So it's going to be a dinner tomorrow night. So I'm not sure how that's going to influence tomorrow night stream, which is typically the Crafter's Corner. And I really do want to do that because another thing that I want to do as far as getting things done is getting these miniatures painted so I have them done for Dinner and a Board Game. It would be great to just have the entire second season of Dinner and a Board Game miniatures painted. That still means I'll have to do an advanced Hero Quest dungeon, but at least I'll have all the miniatures painted. So I really want to power through, and there's a ton of miniatures sitting over here on this thing. So I definitely want to do Crafter's Corner tomorrow, but I am not sure what time, because I'm not really sure what time I will be at dinner tomorrow night, and I got to get back here as well. So it might start a little bit later tomorrow, maybe 8 or 8:30. I don't want to go too late, but I definitely want to do it. So I'll just have to play that by ear, but maybe start at something like 8 might be better. If we need to start, if I end up back and can start earlier, I'll start earlier. But anyway, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Please do like and subscribe, because the number of people who are watching who are subscribed is only like 9.4%. So it's very low on this channel. So if you are enjoying the videos, I'd really love to have you subscribe. And do join the Discord. Stray has been putting the Discord server link in there. I will see everybody there, and then I will see everybody online for the morning grind again tomorrow. You swallowed a bug. Oh, no. Well, grind on, everybody. Grind on. I'll see you in the morning.